Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. I'm going to take a stab in the dark that at some point in your life, you have had that feeling in your gut, you know, that knotty feeling, but also that anxious excitement feeling that you are so capable of so much more than you're doing right now. Many people listen to podcasts like the Man That Can Project, self-help, educational podcasts, because we're looking for answers, right? We know that we have challenges in our life that we want to just solve, right? When we solve it, we know we're going to take our life to a whole new level. And today on the show, Jesse O'Sullivan joins us again. He's been on a couple of times now. He has also been a part of the Man That Can Project for close to 2 years and has completely transformed his life. You know, if you go back to the earlier episodes, which was about 12 months ago, episode 304, you'll hear how he went from not really being clear on who he was or what he wanted to do to now being in complete control of his life. And that's just 12 months. So think about this. If you're sitting there knowing you deserve change, knowing that you want change, then maybe you should check out the Strong Men of Value Academy. I'm not going to do any more plugging. You will have heard it on many episodes, but head over to themanthatcanproject.com/Strong Men of Value to apply today, because it could be the one thing that changes your life. But with Jesse, we speak about this. He sent me a text message, and I'm going to read you the text message now, even though I do read it out in the chat. He said to me, bro, something I've been looking into heaps and would like to share with others is my struggle of fear of rejection and fear of judgment, and realizing that every day I avoid rejection from others is a day that I reject my true self. That is powerful. This revelation has fucked me up, man. I let out a massive amount of build-up emotion and tension. It's one of the most powerful realizations I've ever had. So we talk about that, we discuss that, we dissect that, and we also go deeper to talk about building a life, making a living, doing what you love, and the process that Jesse went through, also the process that I went through, and why I believe everyone can do it. Not everyone will, but I believe you listening, if you want to do it, it's possible for you. I want to quickly read out a review over on Apple Podcasts before we dive into the episode, just quickly. So this one here from DeSinger, down-to-earth chat with two mates who, obviously this is about a specific episode, who are smashing life one day at a time. This motivating podcast inspires those who hear to grab life and execute. Great insights into personal responsibility for your life, plus taking time out for yourself. Awesome reminder and little gems in here. Great listen. So thanks, DeSinger. Awesome to get your review. Remember, you can leave reviews on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube, and you can leave 5-star ratings on all platforms, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and it all helps this show get into the hands of those that need it. So thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're here for the first time or you're returning. Let's get into this episode with Jesse O'Sullivan. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachie Stuart. Let's get into it. This is going to be episode 398. J-Boy, you were on 304 and
almost
pretty much
100.
a year ago.
Yeah.
And also, almost 100 episodes ago.
That's sick.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Been a while.
It has been a while. It's gone fast, man. Time literally appears to be going, it is going extremely fast.
Oh, yeah. Especially since after COVID.
Yeah. What's been one of the highlights for you over the last 12 months? What's one thing you're really proud of or grateful to have experienced over the past 12 months?
I guess the whole experience of running my own business and how that has pushed me out of my comfort zone and stuff. I've fucking loved it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been great. Great for development.
Definitely. What was the quote you were saying before? The 5 things we need.
Oh, yeah. So there's 5 hobbies that you need. One is, what was it? One was to make money. One's to keep you creative. One's to keep you fit. One's to build your knowledge. And then the last one is to evolve your mindset.
What does that look like for you then? If you bring it up just so we don't have to refer to it. Because I was like off the topic, but...
Want to make money. Well,
what's making you money?
Coaching people and helping them get strong and fit.
Yep.
Want to keep me in shape. I kind of have to keep in shape to look good for my business and, be able to practice what I preach.
Yep.
Want to keep you creative. One thing I'm delving into at the moment is like marketing and branding and all the rest of it. So
fascinating. Hey?
Yeah, like it's actually really fun and to get real creative with like how I'm going to market my business and all the rest of it. It's like really exciting.
Yep.
Want to build knowledge. And this one's something I'm really delving into at the moment as well is through seminars and all the rest of it and workshops.
Investing in yourself.
So absolutely, like this has been like a game changer for me and my business, and it makes my business appear that one step ahead of the other businesses around.
You legitimately are though. Like I know it's all about perception. It's really fucking annoying but interesting how if people perceive you as something, they get so, it's like me on the news, even though I'm the exact same person doing the exact same thing, people are like, oh my God.
Just because you're on the news.
I hate that. Like obviously I understand the game, but to me I'm like, people, there's so many incredible people out there who maybe aren't on the news or getting the intent or whatever. And you're looking past them because someone else doesn't choose to put them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Or whatever, not even a pedestal, just giving them a bigger opportunity to an audience.
Exactly. And I think they'll kind of dive into what we're talking about today with fear of rejection and stuff and how people perceive you.
Yep.
And how much value you put onto that. So
there's a few things I want to talk to you about because I've watched you grow over the last couple of years. But one was the text message you sent me, which I'm going to read out in a moment. But then also, like, do you believe you can build a life you love, which probably goes back to that quote and what you're doing now as well. So we'll sort of, I'm sure we'll end up on both of those. I hope we will.
Definitely.
But the message you sent me the other day was something I've been looking into heaps and would like to share with others is my struggle with the fear of rejection and fear of judgment, and realizing that every day I avoid rejection from others is a day that I reject my true self. Boom. Truth bomb.
That's huge.
It is like a bit more to it. The revelation has fucked me up, man. I let out a massive built up emotion and tension, but it's a powerful realization. I think it is.
Absolutely. Like it was that whole day for me was just like, this is the best day of my life. Like it felt so.
How did it come up for you?
Just through journaling and reflecting. I've realized how powerful journaling is for my mental health and meditating and all the rest of it, and just reflecting allows you to see where you're doing well and where you're doing not so well.
What does journaling look like for you though? Because I know as a young man growing up, it was always like I pictured it as a female sing and they'd write Dear Diary.
Dear Diary.
Johnny is not nice to me or whatever. But what does it look like for you?
Well, normally I started off just saying like I feel, and then just whatever I feel I write down, and then I have another question, why?
Yep.
And I write down whatever I think is making me feel that way.
Yep.
And then I usually delve into like, what did I do well today? What did I not do well today? So using a lot of the stuff from the game plan.
Yep.
So just what did I do well? What could have gone better?
And why do you feel that's helpful for you?
It's just reflection. Like you might in your own head think, oh, I'm having the worst day ever. And then you reflect on the day and you go, oh, actually, I did quite a lot of things today. Like emotionally or mentally, you might not feel like you've achieved much, but then you look back on it and you're like, oh, shit, I actually did a lot of stuff.
So is reflection something you would use with your clients then as well? Like if you are having a conversation with them and they're in a maybe a bad headspace or frustrated about progress, do you then get them to reflect?
Absolutely. Like one of the best things I've found, and it's using the Trainerize app, is that at the end of every session, if you do make any improvements, it lets you know.
Yep. Yeah.
And
how good is that?
And then it kind of stores all of those little badges somewhere on the profile, and you can just open up and they're like, oh, I don't feel like I'm making progress, or, I just feel real stale. I'm like, well, look at this. Look at all these badges you've just achieved in the last week.
Yep.
Like even if that was 1% better, if you continue that pace up, you're going to be fucking obliterating all your goals down the track.
I think that's the challenging thing with progress is we want to leapfrog everything, but it's those 1%ers daily, and even starting to, for you said, you're really understanding the value of reflection and journaling. I'm so similar to you. I only really started, I did it for years, but more so because that's what successful people were doing and people told me to do. I didn't really see how it fit into my life.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it for a reason of reflection. And I, similar to how you say I feel, for me, it's I write the time, whatever time I start, and then it's just whatever. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, but then it leads to something. Sometimes it's just gibberish, but it's really beneficial because when I get to like this here on the grounds, I'm nearly finished that one. That will be the journal from this year so far. And I'll be excited to read back through it and see what I've been learning about, thinking about. And I can also, it's timestamped. So I'm like, well, why was that happening? Or why was I curious about that at that point in my life where many people, because we're so inundated with information and life's moving so fast, we never get a stop to, a second to stop and breathe.
Yeah. And it's kind of the essence of, you're either too focused on the future or you're too focused on the past.
Yep.
But if you can sit down and just focus on right now, like, what's going on right now and just put that down on paper, like you can think on it and meditate on it or whatever you want to do there. But I find it's most powerful to write down on paper and, get it from your mind where it's all jumbled and doesn't really make too much sense and put it on a paper and all of a sudden you can look at it more logically and, in order and you can go, all right, well, that's why I'm feeling this way or whatever else.
Tying into, I guess, fear of judgment and fear of criticism and failure and anything that people can be fearful of, do you feel it's important to reach back to past experiences and use or find feedback and find lessons from it?
Absolutely. Like, well, one thing is I was a bit nervous leading into this podcast, but then I was like, fuck no, I did like an hour-long podcast a year ago. So
mate, you were killing it.
Yeah. Like, when it comes to confidence and, not worrying about people judging you and all the rest of it, it comes down to previous experience and learning from it.
So that then, how did you get yourself in the right mind frame coming into here then?
Well, I wrote down what I wanted to say and what was going through my mind and that kind of stuff. But then also, we started off with a bit of breath work and smashed that out real quick. And it's just getting into my right headspace before I start.
I think because every podcast I do, including this one, I get anxious as all buggery because I'm like, I have, we sort of said, well, what's been going on in your life? You sent me that text message. I was like, cool, that's a great topic of conversation because something I experience. And whether I'm talking to yourself or, we've had Wallaby captains a lot, it doesn't matter who the person is, I feel the same way. And it's going, okay, well, I can prep for it. And obviously this is more of a free-flowing conversation as they all are. But it's like, okay, one, I know I'm good at listening and good at asking questions. 2, breath work helps me remain calm. And 3, I need to get my energy heightened as if I already know this person because it gets into it so much faster. And the times that I do neglect that, the podcast is a bit flat. It's not as I look back and go, I let those 1%ers slip and I can tell some people maybe can't, but I can. So it never stops for me. And I think fear of anything, you're never going to get rid of it. I think people who are trying to remove fear from their life are the ones who stay in bubble wrap in their house and don't do anything. It becomes more fearful because you're actually not trying things.
Absolutely. And, that's the biggest thing is when you do have a fear of or, something that's showing up some resistance in your life is you just got to take action and like move towards it rather than trying to deflect it or go in a different direction.
Yep.
Like if there's something that comes up like, well, this is why I do cold showers in the morning. And it's like, it's something that's really hard to do, especially in winter, in the early mornings and all the rest of it.
This last couple of weeks has been a shit show.
But it's something that's super easy to do.
Yep.
Like, and in your own mind, like that's not going to cause you any harm. It's just uncomfortable.
And it's perspective, right? Because fear, as you alluded to there, like there's a quote, use fear as your compass, right? Step towards it. If you, once again, analyze it. If it's going to add value to you, for example, if you were fearful that your partner or someone that you cared about, goes out late and doesn't return home, do you use fear to go, fuck, I'm not going outside ever again? Or do you use that fear to go, fuck, I need to maybe go look for them or check on them, right? Like, so depending on perspective and how you utilize it, it can be the greatest gift for you. Like,
absolutely.
And so many people are being held back, and I've held myself back. I still do, like, hold myself back in various things because of I'm worried about going back to the news of like this is a real life experience for me currently, like being on the news and I'm like, I fucking hate it with a passion. Don't like it. The reason why I agreed to doing these things was like, okay, well, it's building awareness to help me achieve the mission that I've got with the Man That Can project. That's the reason why I do it. But I still fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I'm fearful of criticism. I'm fearful of, because the media at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about me. They just want the story.
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't give a flying fuck. And so then I'm always like, oh, judgment, criticism. What if I say the wrong thing? How did I articulate myself? Did I ramble? But I also go, okay, I need to step into this because my end goal of what I want to create for myself and the impact that I want to have requires me to rise to that level. And that's, I think, once again, as a leader in our own lives, we're all leaders. It's like for the quality of life you want and probably tying into the making a living doing what you love, it requires new versions of ourselves every day. And that means stepping into the fear, getting uncomfortable, sometimes having to look past you in the picture of things and for what it is for the we.
And a good way of looking at it is like I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about, when there's emotion connected to something, it can motivate you so much more because like when you think about if you see a house on fire, you're not going to walk in it, are you? But then if there's something that you love or cherish that's in there, fucking oath, you're going to be able to walk into that fire and you're going to be able to pull it out. And it's the idea that, you can really, your mind, and this is something your row is probably like really shown is that if you put your mind to something and you find what's the, like, you probably didn't focus on, it's 42 Ks a day for 30 days. You probably focused on, this is going to improve men's mental health and raise awareness of how powerful the mind is. And that's, you thought of the objective goal at the end and not so much of the task ahead.
Yeah.
Which is
spot on. It's like tying it into something, doing it for intrinsic reasons, or maybe if people want to look at it as like a selfish reason, whether it's finances, lifestyle, both of us live or have lifestyle businesses. Some people might go, that's a bit selfish, but it's also, there's a bigger reason to it as well. Like you could easily, once you've got clients, you could easily go, fuck it, I'm not worrying about their program and they're paying me. But it's like, well, that ticks your selfish box of having an online business. But there's a bigger thing is like you want to deliver results for people because you genuinely care about why they're working with you, right? It's not the fact that they want to get fitter or stronger. Yes, that's, I guess, what they think it is, but it's like that then enables them to do X, Y, Z, which might be a great parent, travel the world pain free or whatever that looks like. And that's what you really buy into because when they shoot you the text message, Jesse, and go, because of you, this has happened.
Yeah.
Or, because you educated me around this, I'm now comfortable doing this. And it's like, fuck, this is a win-win.
Exactly. And it's like that warm, fuzzy feeling you get.
Drinking coffee?
Yeah. But helping others, I find, is like, I can't remember where I heard this, but it was like, it's one of the most powerful things a human can feel in terms of like satisfaction and pleasure is helping other people and seeing what positive effect you can have on other people as well.
Yeah, well, if someone's feeling terrible right now, like if you're listening to this and you're having a shitty day, if you were in the position to, next time if you're stopping at a coffee shop right now, I'm only saying this because we're drinking, buy the person behind you a coffee or just even say, hey, the next person that comes in, I want to add an extra $5 and have their coffee paid for. You'll walk out of the fucking coffee shop feeling amazing.
Absolutely.
Or you might pay, I've paid for people's fuel before and I do all these things that once again, it's for someone else, but it's also for a selfish reason. But hey, we're here to feel good. If I'm feeling good, I'm going to show up better talking to you or to my wife or to every area of my life. Because when you understand, I think, how you work and how you operate, isn't the goal to feel more fulfilled? Isn't the goal to feel happier?
Yeah, exactly.
So working towards that, but
discovered the meaning of life.
Yeah. You can't, when you're doing things for others or even doing things for yourself, like you do feel good. And it's, I guess, then working out, at any one point, our skill set's not where it needs to be or we're not challenging ourselves enough. It's why people become complacent. Right now with where you're at, you said you're upskilling a lot, learning about marketing, learning about various other things. You've also got a good business already. It would be very easy for you to remain in the comfort zone and go, look, I know what I'm earning. I know the impact that I'm having and that's good for me. Let's live my lifestyle. But I guarantee you, and knowing you, you'll get fucking bored.
Yeah.
Which is why you're now challenging yourself. You're going, okay, I want to be better at marketing. You went to the other seminar last week to be a better coach. Like you're doing all these things, which is throwing in your own world, you're a big fish in a small pond, as am I. But when you go to these other things, you're a small fish in a big pond, and it's like, oh, daunting.
Yeah.
But you're doing these things because now it's like my skill set is equal to my challenge. I'm getting a little bit potentially bored or uncomfortable. So now you either, if you grow your skill set too big, which is what most people do, they're overqualified for the challenges that they're giving themselves because they like to look awesome in a small environment. You're like, fuck that. Let's go the other way, which is how I believe I do it as well. Let's find the challenges and let's stretch and grow through the process, which I think is extremely important.
And just like looking at that end goal of like, all right, where do I want to be, and make it really fucking scary and make it like really ugly, and then be like, all right, well, let's break that down to the smaller goals. How can we get to, that first step? And for me, I want to be able to optimize everyone's, like my clients' lives, not just through fitness in the gym, but, looking into their sleep, looking into their nutrition and all the rest of it. And that starts from, doing a seminar in, optimizing their training, and then doing a seminar in optimizing their nutrition, and then keep upskilling in that way so I can cover every single base there.
And it's also helping you with your quality of life in the long term as well, because now you understand it. And I think for anyone who's, maybe not a coach or working in leadership or anything like that, you don't just need to do these for the benefit of your business or your career. Like, you could attend a movement seminar, you could attend a nutrition seminar for your own interest and understanding, because then, hey, if you eat poorly and you're overweight or you don't feel energized or things like that, learn about it, because then it's going to improve those areas of your life regardless.
Exactly. And like that's exactly what's happened from this most recent seminar with Muscle Nerds. Is I went and learnt how to, properly program hypertrophy training and all that kind of stuff. And my goal is hypertrophy when it comes to the gym. So, I've been able to implement it.
Unit, bro. Unit.
Putting on a bit of weight, but to have that to be able to optimize my training to get to that goal sooner and more efficiently. It's been great. Like, my training this last 2 weeks has been absolutely incredible, and I feel so much better about myself.
Yeah, well, I noticed you came back with a more, because we're doing some work together, and when you filled out this form, it was so clear and concise around what you wanted, where you wanted to go, and I feel clarity around who we are and what we want is something that a lot of I know my clients, and I would feel maybe some of yours lack as well. They might come into the, staying on the fitness route, they might come into the gym and go, no, I just want to lose weight.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, most people want to.
Yeah.
Like, let's get clear on that one. Why? Like, as you said, bring the emotion into it. What's going to motivate you? What's going to inspire you when it's cold outside, or when you get a flat tire in the car? Because I look at Scotty, right? Scotty was in the gym this morning. He did 400 Ks this month, just chips away, like just 10K a day, and then he got himself up and he rode 2 marathons. He never thought he could have done that, but he's just chips away with everything, just consistently, just doesn't need to do anything crazy like you see on the internet, but he knows the power, or he's showing me the power of consistency, and that's all we need to do. It doesn't matter if he's got work calls, nothing will stop him coming. Even if, like, he fucking went in the other night and did a 10K at like 10:30 at night because it was a commitment to himself. And I was like, mate, I wish, like, you're just so inspirational to me, because I probably wouldn't do it at 10:30. I'd be like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. But he's like, I made a commitment to myself, and I had a goal, one for his own personal satisfaction, but he was a bigger part of what we were doing with the rowing and stuff. And I feel a lot of people let themselves off too easy. So having that community support is extremely important as well.
Absolutely. And I feel that ties in once again with confidence, is like when you're able to rely on yourself, to commit to yourself, to, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you might have said, all right, I'm going to do 30 rows. And then you get to the 15th one, you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
And then, but by holding yourself accountable and committing to yourself, you're able to, really, build that confidence in being able to rely on someone, and that someone is you.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, for you, thinking about, and there is a free webinar for those, I remember we were going to plug this at the start, free webinar on how to build massive confidence, which you can head over to the Man That Can Project website to find that, or just go on Instagram. It's been plastered everywhere. It's next Tuesday night. Or actually, sorry, this is going live on Monday. It's tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
So last minute, but that's all good. Jump on that, but we'll be running through a heap of stuff. But for you, why, or what has been one of the areas where you lacked confidence the most, and now that you have it, it's transformed your life?
Well, the biggest one is public speaking.
Yeah.
Is like, I remember back in high school doing, presentations for assignments and whatever else. And even my first year of uni, I failed a subject because I absolutely bombed. I just froze in front of a presentation. And so like for a very long time, I've known that I've been really shit at public speaking. But the first step was when I was doing martial arts and karate. I became an instructor for that, and putting myself in front of a group of lower ranks and all the rest of it, it kind of changes how you perceive your confidence and the rest of it. So it was a lot easier for me to, stand in front of those people and public speak, I guess you could say. But then when that progressed to then coaching, and I remember when I first came into the gym and was doing group coaching, I was a nervous piece of shit at the front. I was like shaking, and my heart rate, like I got the Whoop band and it was telling me it was like 170 or something ridiculous.
Just
like
for standing in front of a crowd.
Of people. And
wow.
But after, I've been a group coach for like almost 2 years now, and now the heart rate doesn't get anywhere near as high. But then the big boss man came in the other day and came in one of my sessions, and bang, it's through the roof again. Yep. And it's just that perception of, being around someone that you want to impress or whatever it might be, and the nerves really kick in, but it just really just shows that you care. But
yeah, definitely. But it also shows that you can control and become comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And so putting myself into positions where I am more nervous, or I am worried about my performance when it comes to public speaking, or presenting a topic on health or whatever it might be. Like I've gone down to Warwick in 2 weeks to present for the Man That Can, and a couple of weeks ago I did 2 different presentations for the gym as well at different businesses. And like, as much as I absolutely hate public speaking, it got me out of my comfort zone.
Do you hate it, or do you hate how you feel around it?
I hate how I feel. I fucking love public speaking, being able to share my knowledge with people, and to be able to like really, because I've realized I'm quite extroverted, but just a nervous
public
extrovert.
Speaking right now, like this will go to 7,000-8,000 people this episode.
That now.
Like, imagine if they were all here. But they're not, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And I think the thing as well, it doesn't matter what it is, everyone's wanting confidence. I think a lot of people get confused between self-esteem and confidence. Confidence is a skill that can be developed, as what we're doing in the webinar. But the only way to improve any of them is to do that specific thing.
Absolutely.
And for example, if you want to get better at public speaking, a podcast may be a good place to start, or filming yourself on the camera where no one else is there. You get to watch it back.
Yeah.
But then you may step up to doing, they might speak in front of 3 people. You may speak in front of 1,000 people, whatever that looks like. But each time you still feel the same. Yeah. But it's just about learning to deal with that pressure and regulate yourself.
Yeah. And regardless of how it went, like if it went well, then bloody great. You're taking one step closer to being more confident. But if it didn't go well, you can look back at it and be like, all right, well, why didn't it go well?
Yep.
And then you can be like, all right, I'm going to practice that one skill. Might be where you're placing your hands when you're talking. You might find that you jitter a bit or something like that. And you go, all right, I'm going to focusing just on that one skill, I guess. Or it might be saying all the time.
I say right. I always say right. And this one thing that I've got, so when I get back from Europe, I'm doing vocal coaching.
Oh, sick.
Because I just speak monotone.
Yeah.
As everyone who's been listening to the podcast is well aware of. And so it's not going to change my life doing it, but I feel like it's just another thing that I can learn about to improve maybe how I engage with people and how I make people feel when I talk to them, which is important to me because obviously as a coach or just even as a person, I want to make people feel a certain way when they're around me rather than just tune out.
Yeah.
So there's always these fine, and we spoke about it on the call Monday night and Friday night in the academy. Communication came up as one of the most important, or what our members thought was important to improve on within the relationship. And I'm like, okay, well, what specifically do you mean about that? Because it's easy to say communication, then walk away and not do anything. But like, what does that actually look like? Is it articulation? Is it emotional regulation? Is it conflict resolution? There's so much we can learn, and we need to learn because
absolutely,
we all have disagreements with people. We all don't, I was listening to the podcast I released with Amy yesterday, and we were talking about a few things. And as I was, I was listening back for feedback, I was like, next time Amy and I talk about this, or I talk about this with someone else, I can articulate myself so much better than I did here. And here's how. Like in my head, I was like, cool, wrote that down, took some notes and I was like, this is actually what I wanted to say. But in the moment, because I'd never really spoken about that specific thing before, I said a few swear words and really summarized it in a way that I'm like, that just wasn't a very good story.
Yeah.
But because I now have that feedback and have that episode, which is once again why I think it's awesome to write, it's awesome to video yourself, it's awesome to audio yourself, it doesn't matter, and utilize that as feedback because you can plug the missing pieces.
Yeah.
And that in itself then makes you, once again, better as a parent, better as an employee, employer, whatever, wherever you need to communicate, which is everywhere, makes you better.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's just building that experience, and it's like going into the gym. You're like, when you first get under a barbell, your squat's probably not going to be the best, but when you were first born, you didn't walk very well. Like, you've got to take the first little steps first and then work your way up. You're not going to, have all this confidence in the world off the bat. You've got to try and, for some people it's quite natural, but for, other people it's, you got to take little steps first, and whether that is recording yourself or, jumping on a podcast or presenting in front of people or presenting even just in front of your friends or your family or something like that, getting you out of your comfort zone and progressing that skill.
Yep. Often it can be more daunting presenting in front of your partner or your friends as well. You're like, shit, these guys know me too much, whereas a crowd of people you don't really know, you're like, oh, it's fine.
Absolutely. Like, I find presenting in front of people I don't know at all is so much easier than presenting in front of people I know. Yep. And it's just because it's like you've got more of a relationship and you've got more to impress those people or whatever it might be. But it's all just around perception. Mm-hmm.
With the rejection, going back to that text message, what is some of the rejection you've been fearful of recently?
I guess just the acceptance of others, and just.
So it's more you want to feel accepted.
Yeah,
you want to feel like a sense of belonging.
Yeah, and be able to fit in and that kind of stuff. And that's why, it's one of the main reasons I absolutely love Function Well, is because it's created such a community that I do feel like I fit in.
Yep.
And it's just really important for me, confidence wise and energy wise, to feel like I fit in. But then once again, it's just down to perspective.
Why do you feel it's important to have that sense of belonging?
It's just like, human need. It's, I think, it's for me being extroverted, it definitely, I require it as almost like a human need to feel like I fit in.
Prior, like when you didn't have a place where you felt like you fit in, what was your life like?
Oh, I was anxious as shit. Like, nervous all the time and stressed all the time, and always worried about are they doing that because they don't like me, or you kind of second guessing yourself all the time. And I guess this relates to a quote that I really like from Steve Irwin, and he says that crocodiles are so much easier to be around because at least they're going to eat you. They're going to try and eat you. Whereas with humans, like, you never know, like, are they just being my friend, or are they just pretending, or, there's that bit of secrecy. And so when I'm around when I was in a group that I didn't really feel like I belonged in, it was that guessing all the time, these guys, is this crocodile going to eat me, or is it, going to try and be my friend? Like,
it's interesting you say that. Like, I was just sort of piecing together this circle in my head. It's now you've found a place where you feel like you're valued, you've got this sense of belonging, and now it's taken away this anxiousness and I guess even fear of rejection. But if you work it back, most people are worried about being rejected by people they don't even fit in with in the first place, but they're trying to be someone that they're not. So it's like this chameleon effect. And I went through this as well, where I was trying to please everyone around me, and I was trying to fit into the cool circle or this circle. And I always felt like I was never congruent. I always felt like something was off. Like, I didn't really know who I was, and I felt a little bit lost and confused. And I was like you, I was anxious all the time. You said you felt overwhelmed. And then when I found a place where I love fitness, and I used to be like, people who love fitness after they're sort of 23 are fucking weirdos, man. You need to be drinking beers and having a family and doing all that stuff. But I'm like, why? It's what I genuinely enjoy. And similar to you, now we've got these communities where people love the same stuff. I feel valued. I also feel like I've got a sense of belonging where I can get incredible feedback, but I can also deliver perspectives and feedback. And it just makes you feel, even going back to even what you said with teaching, when you're in a position to teach, and I say this to all the blokes in the academy, like, you guys are all experts in something that I'm not. And the cool thing about sharing experiences and perspectives, then you get off a call or you walk away from an event or even just a phone call with one of the other blokes, and you're like, oh, I feel really good because I was able to pass on some knowledge to that. And we've all got the ability to do that. But we just don't put ourselves in situations to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a fucking beautiful thing.
And touching back, I think you mentioned it in the call last night, is like, when you show up to different groups, like you're now showing up as that one person. And, that relates back to the text that I sent you with regards to, if you're fearing that rejection and you're fearing the judgment of others, you're rejecting your true self. And so you're not actually being able to be yourself in front of those people, which then makes you come off as a lot more ingenuine and, nervous and anxious and all the rest of it. When you are your true self, you are confident and you give off a lot better energy and, you do fit in. And it's just all around better.
How would, for someone out there who's saying, well, I can understand what you're saying there. I feel a little bit confused in different environments, but I have no idea what my true self is. What would you say to someone who's in that position?
Well, I guess it's like the first step to setting any goals is just find out what's important to you and what you value. Like you sit down and write out your values, and then you can use that to guide your future goals. But if you kind of just winging it all the time and you end up going against those values because they're almost like it's part of your personality or it's part of who you truly are. But if you don't even know what your values are, then you can go against that and then you feel like shit and you don't even know why.
So sitting down and writing down what you value. So you could just take a piece of paper out now or tonight and write down all the things that you enjoy and then just like break that. What is it that I enjoy about that? Could be sport, it could be catching up with friends, it could be a whole range of stuff, and then you might break it down and go, I enjoy the health component, like it's healthy, or I feel like it's fun or it's free, or it might be adventure, and you'll start eliciting all these values, right? And then you can go, okay, well, these seem to be quite important because they're showing up in all the areas of my life where I feel the most fulfilled, I feel the most happy. And so when you can start doing that, you go, okay, well, let's look at where I'm spending my time. Let's spend more time doing things that make me or leave me feeling this way, and less time doing the opposite. And obviously, life throws stuff at us all the time, so you're never going to get that perfect. But if you can be aware of that, it then starts helping you make decisions around who you want to spend time around with, what sort of experiences you want to have, and what you don't. Like, it really can be quite simple.
Yeah.
In theory. It's obviously then the learning to say no and whatever sort of comes off the back of that as well that's challenging.
And it can be plugged into so many different areas of your life, like, answering the question before about, can you build a life that you love? And it's like when you look at, your values and you find those 5 things, what can you be paid for that you like doing? What can help build your knowledge that you like doing? Like, if you put me in an engineering class, I'd be like, fuck this, I don't want to be here.
Yep, me
but
too.
You put me into anything regarding the human body and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, find something that you're intrinsically motivated to follow, and that's how you're once you establish your values, then you can dive into those things that you are intrinsically motivated by. And
you're always, we touched on before, when you find that place of a sense of belonging, like the internet has connected us, like the most micro demographics of all time. Let's use one which is really random, but people who have foot fetishes.
Great choice.
Yeah, if you had a foot fetish and you were living in the country, like I'm talking about out west, it's going to be very hard to find out who else has a foot fetish. Now with the internet, you can probably hashtag foot fetish and find other people with foot fetishes. Now you've got your community. And the cool thing now is going back to what do I really enjoy? What am I curious about? Whether it's health, for me it was coach, or more specifically men's performance. Like, how can we, I used to focus on mental health, but for me I'm like, well, the opposite of, I guess, feeling unwell or being unhappy in life is the opposite, right? So that's why I've sort of shifted to what can we do to be better for tomorrow. And I feel that it's helping people feel better. So I've gone, all right, that's what I enjoy doing. That's what I'm curious about. I'm reading about it all the time. I'm living and breathing that anyway. So then how can we get paid for that? And where's my community? And the internet has been a beautiful thing to do that. But the question I wanted to ask you is, do you genuinely believe you can get paid to do what you love or make a living doing what you love?
I already am.
I
absolutely love what I'm doing. I wake up, for a 5 a.m. session and I spring out of bed and I'm so keen to get to work and to even work on my business and that kind of stuff. And I just when I used to work as a cook, I didn't it was all right, but I wasn't passionate about it and I didn't love it. So it made it a lot harder to, I'd call in sick when I'm not even sick, or I'd, just rock up 5 minutes late, or, I really didn't care.
Yeah.
And like when you find something that you're passionate about, you're so much more motivated to do well.
Do you believe everyone can make a living doing what they love?
I believe it takes a lot of work sometimes, depending on what that is. And obviously where you are financially and all the rest of it, and where your responsibilities currently are, because, you can't just drop everything. And because I was lucky enough to find what I love really early. And when I didn't have too many responsibilities, I don't have a mortgage, don't have kids, all the rest of it. But, you might start off in doing what you love as a side hustle. Yeah. And even if you're working a 9 to 5, and then, from 5 till 7, you find a way to slowly progress that side hustle, and you can build that into something that you love. But the first thing is just, first thing is identifying what you love through, figuring out your own values and the rest of it. But then just take a step into it. Just exactly try things. Like, I didn't know I wanted to really be a coach until I, was just sick of being rejected on LinkedIn and all the rest of it, trying to look for jobs and stuff. And, one day I think I was at the gym, and the manager came up and was like, "Oh, I heard you qualified. Do you want a job here?" I was like, "Yeah, may as well." But so in that case, it kind of fell on my lap. But it's just like, you got to be open to new opportunities and to try new things, because my mum told me once, you got to try everything once. That was her biggest mistake, but at the same time, it's been the most powerful bit of advice I've ever had. And so, like I genuinely believe I've opened myself up to so many new opportunities that, would normally scare me or something like that, and realize, oh, fuck, I love this.
I love that, man. I think it does come back to I believe everyone can make a living doing what they love, but not everyone should, because some people, it can suck the life out of doing what you're doing. Some artists then feel pressure for having to make money doing what they do, and they lose their joy. I see musicians, it's like, look at the way the world's going now with TikTok. It's like Halsey was up on, posted a video the other day, her label won't let her release an album because it's not TikTok worthy. And she's like, I'm a fucking artist at the end of it. And she's not a small artist either.
Yeah.
But they like, TikTok it, son, or fuck off.
Wow.
So there can be pros and cons to why we do things, but definitely I feel, and I genuinely know so many men who are in careers that they dislike, and as you mentioned, and it's really important to consider, some people have mortgages, families, and all of that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, I believe you can always make more money, and you might look at selling that. Like, at the end of the day, what's most important to you? For most people who have families, I would say it's probably taking care of their family. But after that, it's like, for me, it's always happiness. And I, much like you, I was very fortunate from a young age to start becoming quite self-aware. So I realized that when I am having a family, these are the things that are important for me to have in place, because I want X, Y, and Z. And I've built it that way. So I've done things a little bit differently to most people, but it's also put me in a position now that most people want to be in, but for whatever circumstances. So, but for anyone who's in that position, it's like, you still have the choice. As you said, it might mean from, when you put your family down, or when you finish work from 9 till even 11, you might go, right, I'm going to start working on doing what I love. I'm going to start building a brand. I'm going to start learning to market things or sell things, because sales and marketing, without those, you can't do anything anyway. But I think if you can learn to sell, and if you can learn to market, you then are really in the driver's seat for what you can earn, the kind of lifestyle that you want to create, because you don't have to rely on anyone. As you said, you got sick of being rejected for job applications. It's like, okay, well, let's just take ownership for my stuff. I want to be my own boss. I want to be in control of what impact I have, the salary that I earn. And it's obviously, don't get me wrong, it's a fucking stressful position to be in, but it's also the most empowering position to be in, because if you don't like it, you can change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think touching back on how can you get paid for what you love, or whatever it might be, don't expect you can do it by yourself. Like,
fuck no.
Like, a lot of people think they've got to be a one-man show or one-woman show, and it's just like, well, no, like, if you, like, even with the Man That Can stuff, like, I got involved with Man That Can before I became a coach. And it's because I wanted to surround myself with people who are doing what I wanted to do. and learning from, you've got 7 years of experience over me.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I can learn from your 7 years of mistakes and successes and then plug that into my own journey. And, like if I can go to, or even reading books or, going to seminars and that kind of stuff, invest in yourself in that way, whether it's money or it's time, in learning from people who are doing what you want to do.
Yep.
And so maybe if you do work a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, find a weekend where you go and, go to a seminar or just find a book you can read 10 pages a day. Or
to a person who says, yeah, but that's my only time off, what would you say to them? If someone's not where they want to be and Monday to Friday they're working long hours and there's a weekend seminar.
Do you want more time off? Well, that's what it is. It's like when you become your own boss and when you're doing what you love and getting paid for more than just your time, you can have more time off.
Yep.
And it's because you create that freedom. And it's like, well, it's like the idea, like, if you're umming and ahhing about going to university or whatever it might be, or studying a course or doing anything like that, and it's like, and you go, oh no, but it would take me 5 years to do that course. And I'll be like, well, if on my age, I'm 25 and a lot of people start, by the time you get to 25, you're like, oh, it's a bit late for me to go to uni now. Like everyone's like 18 when they're going to uni. And it's like, well, if the course takes you 5 years, regardless of whether you do the course or not, in 5 years, you're going to be 30. Like you're going to get older in 5 years. So you may as well, take that first step now. And if it takes you 5 years to do it, then, in 5 years' time, you'll be thanking your younger self for doing so.
Fuck yeah.
So it's just take that one step forward, even if it's a tiny little creep forward towards what you want to do. And if it takes up a day of your life, you're still that one step closer to, and even if it's not what you want to do, you realize that's not what you want to do.
It's not a bad result, really.
Yeah. So it's a win-win situation. It's just putting yourself into those opportunities and trialing things and, just putting yourself out there. And if you do nothing, you don't go anywhere.
Exactly right. Last question. What's one thing you're doing today to be better for tomorrow?
Jumping on this podcast.
Fuck yeah.
Bang. It's nice and easy to answer that one.
Communication.
Yeah. Working on the communication, working on presenting skills and, being able to put my jumbled mind into words.
Oh, mate, you've done really good. I've learned a lot from having this conversation with you for sure. Now, gents, episode 398. Thanks for supporting. Next week will be 400.
Ooh, that's sick.
If you got value from this one with Jesse, remember you can reach out to him on
JD Sully on Instagram.
Boom. I'll put the link the
JD Academy as well.
The JD Academy. I'll put both of those links there so you can look down and click on those ones. But also remember to leave a review, share it on your socials, get vocal, and also every time you leave a review, I'll share it each week, which would be lovely.
Yeah. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.